Welcome to The Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Gus Sorola.
You're tired of paying ridiculous fees for high-speed internet? Just hand over all your data and maybe you'll get a little bit of a discount.
And if you don't want your ISP to sell your data, well, that should cost you more money according to certain internet service providers.
Spoiler alert, certain internet providers? Comcast.
Of course.
Probably not surprised.
No, not at all.
No one is surprised.
In a letter filed to the Federal Communications Commission this week, Comcast argued that charging users more for privacy is, quote, perfectly acceptable.
First, they charge you too much money for slow internet. Now they want to charge you to protect your own privacy. What's more, they even stated that not allowing them to do so was harmful to customers. They're just looking out for you.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. They're good guys. Can't wait to hear how they spin that one. I'm charging you more money to protect you. Honest, it's like the mob, right?
It's
you got some nice privacy here. It'd be a shame if someone intruded on it.
I would love to see just like how that thought process worked. If there's any industry besides the airline industry that thought it could get away with being bigger dicks to their customers, it would be the cable industry.
This letter from Comcast was in response to some recent rule changes. The FCC, the governing body over all things radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable, ruled back in March that broadband companies have to start offering consumers more choice, transparency, and security over their personal data.
Sure, it took them long enough to propose those changes. Based on that ruling, ISPs would have to be extremely transparent about what part of your information they're selling and to whom. They would also have to make it easy to opt out of any privacy-related data swaps, plus customers would have to opt in for those to even happen in the first place. Like, manually opt in, not one of those, you're opted in unless you opt out sort of thing.
And we're not going to tell you how to do that.
Exactly.
Naturally, big-time ISPs aren't a big fan of those measures at all, partly because some of them are already using some shady opt-in tactics to get more money from you anyway. AT&T, for instance, began offering users discounted prices if they opted into a data selling program, but we'll get to more on that in a moment.
What brings us back to Comcast's letter this week, in which they're rejecting the proposed changes the FCC requested back in March.
It starts out normal enough. Comcast says it totally agrees with the FCC that super important user data should be protected and that they totally appreciate any rules from the FCC that would protect users.
And then they take a hard left into full Comcast mode. First, they push back against the FCC's authority to even keep them from offering consumers more benefits, like lower prices in exchange for using their data.
Then they argue that limiting them from offering such benefits is hurting customers, writing, moreover, such a prohibition would harm consumers by, among other things, depriving them of lower-priced offerings.
So,
what?
Yeah, their arguing is essentially that their prices are so high, it would be bad for customers to not get discounts for allowing their data to be sold.
Because,
I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. Because if they couldn't sell their data, then they couldn't give them lower prices?
Right, they're like, yeah, these poor customers, man, it's all costing a lot of money. If only there was some way for them to not pay so much. We could do that, but...
We're too happy fucking them over.
And so what that really means is that retaining your privacy should be a premium option in the eyes of internet service providers. That's it's a whole new tier. More private plans equal to higher monthly bill. Less privacy means you don't have to pay as much.
What?
Yeah, that's Comcast logic.
Following that, Comcast says that not allowing user data to be sold means that ad-supported broadband could cease to exist, which again would only increase prices and thus slow down the adoption rate of broadband altogether. But haven't we had privacy in our broadband for over a decade now?
Also, I'm not sure that broadband adoption is an issue at this point. I'm pretty sure people have broadband. Well, they sure are making a compelling case for why they not only need to sell your data, but why they should be able to charge you not to sell it. Really, they're doing you a favor.
Of course. They go on to say, a bargain for exchange of information for service is a perfectly acceptable and widely used model throughout the US economy, including the internet ecosystem. They even argue that there's already legal and market precedent for this kind of thing.
In their own special way, they do kind of have a little bit of a point on two different fronts. First, AT&T is absolutely already doing this in some markets, as we mentioned earlier.
Last spring, AT&T started having a little bit of a problem with Google Fiber showing up in places like Austin and Kansas City, offering much faster internet for a lot less money. As a result, AT&T started lowering its prices and raising its speeds, only there, of course, was a little bit of a catch.
If you wanted the much, much lower rate, you had to opt into AT&T's Gigapower Internet Preferences program. The fine print for the program was literally quadruple asterisked, which said that users were agreeing that AT&T may use web browsing information like the search terms entered and the web pages visited to provide customers with relevant offers and ads tailored to their interests.
That's why I've been getting so many Brazilian fart porn pop-ups.
What?
Refusing meant you had to pay as much as 40% more for your monthly internet bill. Apparently, that's how much your privacy's worth.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the Brazilian.
It smells like papayas.
Fresh. So anyway, moving right along from papayas. So Comcast is asking if they can do it, why can't we and everybody else do the same thing?
Second, Comcast is right in that a bargain for exchange of information is already widely accepted on the internet, because here's the thing, just about every service you use is selling your data to somebody so they can serve you better ads. They just do a better job of hiding it.
So think about a subscription service that then stops giving you ads once you pay them money. It's premium, right? And then there are plenty who still sell the data even when you do pay them. Not everyone does that. They usually have to be pretty clear about it, but sometimes they get buried in terms of service agreements that nobody reads, and then you agree to have your stuff sold and you don't even know it.
It's almost like Comcast is saying, hey, the entire internet's doing this to customers already, at least we're being upfront about it, and offering them an actual discount for what everybody else does without the option to save money. Except, it's not really a discount.
No.
It's like normal list price.
Yeah.
What?
So it would make a sense if it wasn't for that one aspect.
Yeah.
At this point, everyone kind of assumes the data is up for sale. Sure, just about everyone on every platform. The question is whether you'd rather those platforms just be honest and tell you what they're doing and maybe offer you a lower price for opting in.
You know, obviously we'd rather live in a world where nobody was doing this in the first place, but Pandora's box was probably opened way too long ago to fix it at this point. Still, most people would probably agree that charging people for a basic expectation of privacy is going a little overboard.
What do you guys think of Comcast and all the other ISPs wanting to charge you more money for privacy? Would you agree to pay less and have your information traded? Let us know in the comments.
For future updates on the tech industry and who's selling your data, everybody, like this video and subscribe to The Know. It's like when you buy a house, right? The curtains aren't free. You gotta pay for your curtains.
Dude, curtains are one of the worst parts of getting a house too. Like the window treatments, that's expensive.
So do you want curtains for your internet? We'll see. And if you don't want your ISP to sell your data, well, that costs you more money because according to certain because? What? There's no because in there. I just totally fucked that up. I thought, I'm not going to screw it up today. And I screwed it up anyway. It starts out normal enough, you know, like most things. Comcast says that it totes agrees. It totes agrees.
It totes agrees.
It starts out normal enough,